Hello and welcome back, Realty Pros. And thank you for joining us for this evening's new agent training. We're going to go ahead and we're going to dive right in. We have Mr. Curtis Price with us, and he is our buyer agent extraordinaire. And he is going to be sharing with us this evening on winning offers for your buyers. So we're getting into the spring. We are in spring, and everyone is going to start getting out, or those who have not yet made it out are definitely coming out. And we want to be prepared for our buyers. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to turn it over to you, Curtis, and you can go ahead and you can begin. Thank you for taking your time out to share with us this evening.
Absolutely, my pleasure. It's always great to be here with you guys. And we are definitely full swing in spring because my allergies have been kicking my butt for the past week. I was gonna go and run the other day, and I looked outside and I could actually see the pollen just floating around. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna stay right inside. And because the last thing I wanted to do was be outside running and breathing in all the pollen. Probably been laid over in a ditch somewhere. But spring is definitely here. And so basically what I'm going to be getting into tonight, guys, is writing the winning offer. And so there's a lot to writing an offer. What I'm not going to kind of really get into is like pulling up Brokermite and like step-by-step writing the offer. What I wanted to do is kind of give you some things that I personally have discovered that work great for me, and kind of more of the mindset as you go through the whole process of working with the buyer that's going to set up you writing that winning offer to make it even easier, as seamless as you can. One of the first offers I wrote, bless Jasmine's heart, because she was on the phone with me for I don't know how long. The library closed, I had to leave, and then I had to, I don't know, I forget even where I went. I had to get internet. It took me hours to write the offer. And by the time I finally submitted it, they had accepted another offer. And then it started raining. It was a very poetic evening for me. But with that being said, over the years and over time, the one thing that I will, really express to you guys is like, if you don't write offers though, you're not going to get better at writing offers. So I didn't look at that as like a major defeat or anything, because it was literally the first time I was trying to put an offer together. But, when we look at, I am a strength conditioning coach. And there's been times in my gym I've written offers. I've trained a class and went in the back office and sat and cranked out the offer. And what the kind of training style that I do is very time oriented. So I even got myself to a point where I would even run my gym's clock to see how much of the offer I could get written before I had to go out onto the floor to actually coach a class. And then I would know how much, I'd have X amount left after the class and people left. But it's so cool for me because it took me hours to write my first offer. And now I can write an offer within 45 minutes. And that really comes from writing offers. So what I've kind of, put together are some key things that I think will help benefit you looking to write the winning offer. So there's establishing a relationship with the listing side. There's so many components outside of just here's the written offer. You could write an offer, submit it, and you could have submitted it wrong. At Porterhouse, we have a certain format on that listing side that we want the offers to come in. So, taking all these things kind of into, in place, lining them all up is going to, I believe, give you the ammunition to really write that winning offer that's going to get you accepted, ratified, that's going to stand out in the pile of offers. You know, the market is a little different now than it was in the dead, heat of COVID, but COVID was wild. Like, there were offers, and you had to stand out. You had to write a good offer. So it wasn't just about you put it together, submitted it, and you were accepted. You had to stand out. So kind of taking all of that and putting it together into, somewhat of a slide presentation. So that being said, let me share, let me open up my screen for the slide. Okay, and this is it. All right. Okay, and all right. Okay, so winning the offer for your buyer, writing winning offers. So you can see the gentleman, clearly he won. And unfortunately, the lady behind him, I don't think she won. So we got our offer ratified. We got it accepted. So looking at that, kind of going in a somewhat of an order of the process that you're going to, undergo. The first thing is actually the lender letter. And we're going to get into that. Next, we're going to look at the power of Brokermite. Then the all important Porterhouse International Realty Group buyer consultation. They want the house. So now you showed it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is it. So now what are you going to do? They want the house. The actual writing the offer, submitting the offer, then there's follow-up, and you become ratified. Okay, so the lender letter, we always kind of will refer to it for buyers that once they get their pre-approval, they got the golden ticket, right? So with the lender letter, why I wanted to put that first is because we want to establish the buyer relationship with the lender before we're obviously even showing properties. But more importantly is that you as the agent need to establish that relationship with the lender. So the lender letter, which is going to kind of greenlight them to actually set them up for the buyer consultation, the lender letter also allows you to start to talk to your lender, or their lender rather. So you're building a relationship and you're building that rapport. That is all very important components to having your actual offer look good, look clean, is starting out with the money, really building that relationship with the lender. With that being said, a lot of times I'll even ask, Michael Cooper, how are they looking? Like they've been pre-approved, but did they drag their feet getting you documents? How were they? How was that buyer, acting? So it can already start to set up your potential pitfalls, certain things that might pop up. We want to alleviate as many trips and falls as we can writing that winning offer. So the lender letter is a very key component because it's going to establish that relationship between you and the lender. Brokermite is truly the heartbeat of your real estate business. It's where it all begins. So in Brokermite, you're going to actually fill out your client information. So again, we haven't done the buyer presentation yet, but this is all very vital for you moving forward to then write the offer. So you're going to fill out the client's information, the people that are going to be on the deed that are actually looking to purchase the property. If mom or boyfriend aren't getting the loan, you don't need their name, their email, their phone number, etc. So you're going to fill out all that pertinent information. You're then going to set up the buyer consultation. The buyer consultation is going to, most importantly, show the buyers how to sign, how to e-sign. I can't even imagine what it must have been like years ago for the realtors out there that didn't have the technology that we have, to drive over to a house to have some, to line out and get one initial and then drive it back. And I can't even honestly fathom that, so excuse me, with the buyer consultation, they're going to see, because they're going to sign the agency documents making you their realtor, they're going to understand how to sign things, which is vitally important when it's go time. So that's part of the buyer consultation, is letting them know, hey, once we go out, we're going to find the dream home. This is also you making me your realtor. This is also how you're going to sign the various documents that we need in order to get, the keys to your home. Another thing within Brokermite too is the documents. So you actually have a whole library of offer samples. So that's going to pop up again down the road, and then it's going to track the entire process. So once you write the offer, submit it, it's going to actually track your whole experience of getting your buyer the keys. But most importantly, with Brokermite, for writing that winning offer is going to be them understanding and seeing how they initial sign off on various documents, because that's going to be extremely critical once you've written the offer, submitted it to the buyers in order for them to sign an initial off so that you can formally submit it. So very, very key component, which is also why it's very critical for you guys to go through Brokermite. Look at the samples, offer samples that we have in the library. Familiarize yourself with Brokermite. Write a fake offer, practice and get in there, because the worst thing, and this is what happened with me when I wrote my first offer, was I just hadn't written any offers, so I just couldn't operate, it's like anything, you get into the car now, more than likely you can drive. You shouldn't be texting, but you can drive and turn the radio, and before you know it, you're at your destination. When you first learned how to drive, though, after passing your test, you were probably both hands on the steering wheel, making sure all the mirrors were lined up. But over time, you just get better because it's repetition. You've done it more and more frequently. So the buyer consultation, major key. So what I like about the buyer consultation, there's many things, but what it's going to really do is it's going to kind of set the pace for the experience. So it puts literally the entire home buying process, lays it out for said buyer, and it takes away a lot of uncertainty. That's going to be key with the speed that you're going to need in order to write the winning offer. You don't want to be looking for or not mentioned the EMD before you go out and see a house. because now they're going to need to provide you with the EMD in order to put it into the winning offer. So the buyer consultation really, really sets the pace. You're also going to plant the seed for urgency. So it's not that, I'll tell my buyers, I'll move as fast as you want me to, or as laid back as you want me to, until we're writing the offer. So like we can go out, see property, doesn't fit, we'll make the adjustments, and show homes, like we're going to find you your home. Once you get the warm and fuzzies though, and, spidey senses are tingling and you're ready to write, this is the house, urgency, everything then speed. So the buyer consultation is going to set up, that feel, that how it's going to roll. And that's going to be a major key when it's time to really rock and roll. You got to sit down, you need to write the offer. I need that EMD check. So I'm prepping them on the things that they're going to need, so that when I am going to write that offer and I mention like, hey, I need a picture of the check, they already know. You know what I mean? They may not know exactly at that moment, like, because they're not the realtor, but they've heard me mention earnest money deposit, 1%, 2%, whatever you're comfortable, et cetera. They've heard that prior to, so the buyer consultation is so important for the winning offer that you're going to write. So they saw the house and they want the house. So just mentioning the EMD right at the house. So like I do this literally, we've walked out, I've locked up, we haven't even left. So if it's that strong of a feeling, we're talking strategy, and we're talking these things out on this particular slide, really out in front of the property or at our cars, or like, this is it. Now it's go time. So I'm going to need a picture of that 1% or whatever it is of the earnest money deposit. So it's kind of like, I like to set them up with the homework that they're going to need, because we're at the property, they need to go home or wherever they got that check. And then I need to beat feet essentially to the office to actually start to write the offer. So first thing, I need that EMD. The next, typically that survey is going to come through showing time, asking you, hey, what did you think about the property? I really like using that as a way to immediately reach out to the listing agent without even calling, or, and people on the listing side, they're, the listing agent, they're looking for feedback. So for it to be all fives, everything's great, and comments, my clients absolutely love the property. This is their, this is a perfect home for them. I'm very excited to get back to the office and work on, and start writing the offer. I will also contact the listing agent via the phone. So now I might be sitting in my car because the buyers have already pulled off. I'm still in the car, and I'm going to call the agent. Sometimes the listing side, they may not pick up. No worries. I'm going to text the agent. I'm going to leave the voicemail, and I won't send the email yet because I did essentially contact them through the showing time survey. But I'm going to call I want to establish the relationship with that listing agent as soon as I can. I want them to know who I am. I want them to know that my buyers absolutely love the house, that they are strongly qualified, that this is I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm already like kind of setting that precedence, and I'm still sitting in the car at the property. You know what I mean? I'll also inform the lender. I may have driven off by now and like gotten to the office, but I'm going to also inform the lender like, hey, you know, Michael Cooper, we saw property, perfect. And now I might need an updated lender letter. So I'm very big on in my offers, I want my lender letter to truly reflect that offer price that we're going to give. So if it's $500,000 purchase price that we're willing to do, I want the letter to reflect 500,000. They could be approved, you know, pre-approved for 520, 550, whatever it is over. I just want an updated letter, which from the lending side of things, it's relatively easy to do. You know, depending if we looked at it on a Friday night or a Saturday or Sunday, but you know, typically they can get that updated lender letter to you very quickly. But again, it kind of goes back to that first slide of the lender introduction, you know, and getting that lender letter. It's again establishing that rapport, you know, essentially letting the lender know like, hey, you know, we're out looking, this is it. I'm going to need an updated letter. Sometimes you might not, you know, if the price is listed and that's what they're offering, so be it. But just again, it could just kind of like piggybacks on, you know, having that relationship with the lender. And then, yes, beat feet to the office so that you can actually sit and get ready and start working on the actual offer itself.
Excuse me, Curtis.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just want to ask you a quick question.
Yep.
So you had mentioned that if the, as far as the lender letter, so if they are pre-approved for a little bit more, tell me your strategy on why you just want the lender letter to be for whatever the value of the house is. I mean, because sometimes, you know, we want to let people know we're willing to go, you know, offer a little bit over asking price. So what's your strategy and why do you do that? Because I know you have a reason.
Curtis, unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
I didn't hear a word, Curtis. I'm sorry.
Can you unmute yourself, Curtis?
Curtis. I am muted now. You guys hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
I think I was muted by maybe the host. Somebody muted me. So I'll pull everything back up. But before I do that, the rationale behind that is because the amount could be very different, you know. So I want the letter to reflect what it is we're going in at, because that would have already taken into consideration. I just said 500. So if the list price is 475 and we're offering 500, that lender letter is going to reflect what that buyer has the money to and are willing to offer. You know, so and this is just how I am. I don't want the seller to see, well, you know, the price was, they could really afford a lot more. You know what I mean? Like that's just my strategy of like, I want them to see what we're offering. This is what, you know, this is what they're pre-approved for. This is what they're comfortable buying. And that's what the letter should reflect, you know, because you could really have a big discrepancy of the lender letter in relation to what they actually want to buy. Because of the process of home shopping, they could have been pre-approved, actually got their green light pre-approval, 2 months ago. And then just the way time or things happen, we now found that house, 2 months later. And as we might have looked at other properties, they realized like, you know what, we're pre-approved for 600,000, but I want to find a house around 500. So that property could have been 475, and they're like, you know what, I want to offer 500. The listing side doesn't need to see that they're approved for 600,000. So I just want that letter to reflect, because that is part of the strategy of, if we're going over, I just always want the letter to, because this is what they're pre-approved for. In negotiating, now we can, because typically that would be a cash or a gift or something like that, So now it's kind of like the negotiating has begun, because the offer was so good, Did that answer?
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Yep. All right. Let me see. All right. And I think I was here. And okay. All right. Back. And then I'm beating feet to the office. So the actual writing of the offer. So I have the multiple Windows laptop screens open. And again, this is Curtis's kind of like method, or, this is what I found very comfortable for me. Granted, I don't need 6 laptops or 6 computer screens, but I found just over time and writing various offers that I'd like to ideally have 2 screens, 2 laptops, which I happen to have. And part of that reason of one is really old. I don't really use it as much, but I can pull up certain documents on that laptop while I'm actually actively writing the offer out on the other one. But I do recommend that you get multiple tabs are going to open. And what I like to do is when I open up multiple tabs, I like to have them all lined up next to each other. So I don't know if, as I was sharing the screen, you could see that I had probably like 100 tabs open. I don't know. I just have a bunch of tabs always open. So when I'm writing my offer, I want to be very lasered in on these particular tabs or pages, what have you. One is going to be, I'm going to open up Brokermite. I'm going to open up the listing or open up Bright MLS in another tab and actually pull up the listing in Bright. So I have all the pertinent information for the listing. Everything's going to be there. I also like to open up the listing in HomeSnap. So that's another tab. And then finally, I'll have a demo offer that I'll have like a full, an old ratified or the demo offer open in another tab as kind of a reference if I need it. One thing to be mindful of when you're looking at, opening up particularly like a demo offer that's written is to make sure that the financing is it's VA, if it's conventional, that these things kind of relate. There are going to be other addendum depending on the county that you might need to add in, but these are kind of like the meat and potatoes are the really important tabs that you are going to need. The last thing you want to do is like when you're, and again, it kind of goes back to my coaching days and like literally running a clock and seeing how efficiently and how fast I can kind of get through the offer. You don't want to like be pulling up or like, oh man, you know, I need, where's the listing agent's actual ID and the listing agent's brokerage? Oh yeah, it's in Bright. Let me open up Bright. So now you go in, you got to open it up. You got to then pull up the listing. Got to then find it. Where if I can set all of this up, it just makes it a lot more efficient. You don't have to scramble looking for things. You can just a lot more efficiently kind of plow through the actual offer. The offer summary that we have at Porterhouse, I think is amazing. Like that's one of the first things that I tend to fill out. And I do that because for me, it puts me in the mindset that I am about to write an offer, you know, because you're really pulling the real important information for the offer summary. You know, you're going to need the names, of course, the address. You're going to need the name of the seller, the amount, the earnest money, any contingencies, the lender, the title, you know, the title company, all the major players and components to the overall offer are going to be on the summary. So what I always like to think of is when I'm putting the offer together is that like at the top, you're going to have the agency documents, but then like the first thing that any real listing agent is going to be looking for is the money. You know, like, yeah, okay, you submitted an offer, great. What's the money and what's the contingencies? Like, what do we got here? So for them to see nicely, cleanly, everything spelled out that they're really looking for, bam. And then right under that, the lender letter. And then right under that, the picture of the EMD check. So for me, those are like, those three things are like the bread and butter. Like that's what you want to have at the top of your offer. And by focusing on the summary at first, it just, for me, it just puts me in this like this zone. You know, I'm getting in the zone. We're working. It's go time. I'm gonna write this offer. The other thing that I like to do is to drop in and or take out easy stuff. So a lot of times Shay or mentioned like, you know, that low hanging fruit within your sphere of influence. I like to look at the low hanging fruit of when I'm now actually going through the offer. There's certain things that once we enter in the seller's information, Brokermite will kind of like autofill a lot of the offer. You know, like it takes out so much guesswork for you. But there's certain things, you know, county's different, financing's different, that you're going to have to remove or add in. And so even before I really start filling out the offer, I want to make sure that the bones of everything that I'm going to more than likely need or that I'm truly, really, really aware of, it's all there. It's all laid out. It's all nicely organized. It's pretty much how I'm going to want the offer to flow. And that is in Brokermite. You can actually move different fields around or move documents around and organize them how you would like. I know we have trainings on Brokermite, writing offers in the library. Highly recommend, check those out. But I like to organize everything so that once I'm really ready to go through and actually start entering in pertinent information, it's like the checklist is all done. And now I can just go through and bam, 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 you know, kind of like knock out everything. If there are things when I'm writing my offer that I'm unaware of, it's kind of like test taking, like you want to go through your exam and the easy questions, the questions, the things that you're 100% clear on. You go through that one addendum and fill it out. Then you might look at it again. You know what? I'm not sure about this. Let me have my notepad, jot, financing addendum, conventional, I don't know, interest rate, and then you can go back to it. But I want to keep moving through the document. I want to keep moving through the whole offer and filling out as much as I can right away. And then I'll kind of go back and then I'll pull the information that I'm going to need for this section, that section. And then I might have to call Mr. Porter. You're like, all right, my offer is like 98%, 90%. I'm not sure about this. Or, then you can reach out to myself or, like that's when, because you're kind of stuck or you're really not sure. But in the beginning, I like to just kind of go through, knock it out, knock this one out, and just keep flowing through the document. And then make the adjustments or fine tune it once, everything else has been filled out. But the multiple tabs, opening up all those tabs, I highly recommend something like that. If that doesn't work for you, I think it's just very easy and convenient. Even if you're in the office writing your offers at Porterhouse, you could use one of the computers, that we have in the back. You actually could pull up Brokermite there for the demo. And so on that nice big screen, you have the demo, or you pull up the demo on your laptop and you're going to write the offer. You just log in again on Brokermite there, so the two screens and multiple tabs, I think are like really, really way to have all the real pertinent information at your disposal, and you don't have to fumble around looking for things. So then submitting the offer. Sometimes that's kind of how I looked when I wrote the first offer, but I wasn't even that organized. So it can be crazy, in the beginning too, like, the first few times, like learning anything, it just can be a little overwhelming or like, are you missing anything? So there's a lot going on. It's a huge purchase, let's not beat around the bush. This is someone's home that they're looking to buy, and they're using you, to make this home their dream home. So there is pressure, there is going to be stress, and these kind of things that we're, touching on tonight is going to help alleviate as much of that stress as we can. So, offers written, everything's done. Look it over again. Look it over one more time. I know you'll probably look it over 5 times. I still do it. I'm going to just check it. I'm going to go through it again. Check for special submission instructions. So again, this is very key to kind of having that relationship, reaching out to the listing agent and seeing, do they have a special way that they want their offers presented? Which some do, some folks don't. You'll come across, and I'll just, when you get it, you have your offer, just send, just email it over to me. Some people, like us at Porterhouse, which I will always have a listing with certain requirements on how to submit the offer, because I can then manage that whole, that offer and any others that are going to come in Brokermite. So some agents are going to have a special way that they want their offers presented. It's going to behoove you to listen to and do what they say. They have the listing. They want their offer a certain way. If they wanted it in a purple font, I'm going to put a purple font. Actually, we probably even ask them, well, what shade of purple? Can you send me the exact shade that you want the document in, because this is how they operate. Hey, we're all friends here, you know. But that's one thing you really want to look at is, are there any special submission instructions? And then look, you know, if you're uncertain still, have a Realty Pro, you know, one of your fellow agents, just take a look over. It's always at, you know, different eyes. They might see something might jump out at them that, you know, it could be something extremely minor. You know, say a prayer and submit. So however they want it submitted to them, say a quick prayer, push that send button, and it's off. Immediately inform the listing agent via phone, email, and text. Not one or maybe all three. I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna leave a voice message. I'm gonna email them. I'm gonna text them. All of that. And I'm letting them know that an amazing offer has been submitted. And I'm so excited to have the opportunity to work with them and help my buyers make this their new dream home. So I'm doing all of that after I submitted. Then I'm going to inform my buyers, it's submitted. Say a prayer. You guys pray too. So now you pray. So offer's in. So the offer's gone. We've done our job, and we put it together, and it's been submitted. This can be the follow-up. It's time to woo-saw, and you know, you've done your job. Because this can be nerve-wracking in and of itself. You know, like, it's submitted. Again, follow the listing agent's instructions. They might be presenting a week from now. You know, if you caught the property just listed today and, you know, it's Thursday, they probably want the weekend, and they might be waiting maybe till the end of next week to see, you know, what kind of traffic, what kind of action they can have. They might not. They could accept that amazing offer that you wrote that day. But if the listing agent does tell you, like, look, you know, we're going to be presenting, you know, on Monday, don't, and this is just me, like, don't harass them. You don't have to keep calling them. You don't have to, you know, because then, like, you know, you don't want to be a pest. Like, hey, I'm still showing the property, just listed. Like, I got it. I got your offer. You know, like, you don't want to harass, because essentially too, like, you know, you can look at this where you want to present yourself, one, professionally, and in a manner of, like, you're going to be interacting with, you know, on both sides. So the buying side and the listing side is going to be interacting with each other for like the next 30 days with a high, you know, a high dollar sign transaction. You know, like, you don't want to come off annoying, you know? So don't be a pest, be patient. I wouldn't then personally show other properties, but they can keep looking. So I'll let my buyers know too, like, hey, offers in, they're going to present on this day, you know, so they're, you know, shopping it, you know, they're going to see what kind of other offers are going to come in. I feel phenomenal about ours. But, you know, keep the listings that I have set up for you are going to keep coming. You know, keep your eye out and see what's available. And if this does fall through and we're not able to get under contract for this home, you know, we'll have some options that we can immediately look at. The last thing that you want to do is, like, you just submitted an offer and then you're showing actively, like, other homes, and then, you know, what if your offer does get accepted and then they see another home, and then, you know, so for me, I'm like, let's wait and see what actually happens with this property. Other properties are going to be coming to you, so you can see and, you know, still have your thumb on the pulse of the market, what's going on out there. They might see absolutely nothing, and that is the dream home. That is the home for them. So that's just something with me where listings are still going to come to you in your email, but I'm not going to be driving all over, like showing you properties. And then you're ratified. So you did your job, you got your offer in, congratulations, you are under contract. And now the time really kicks off and things turn up and go to another level. And that is just more of, you know, the other process of getting to settlement. But that ends the presentation. I'm going to turn it off. And, you know, if you guys have any questions, comments, would love to. Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you. Forgot I put that slide in there. Okay. Okay. And cool.
Thank you, Curtis. So I did actually have a couple questions.
Yeah.
And my first question is have you found one thing that I always do once I have written an offer and sent it off to my and sent it off to my and sent it off to my buyer to sign off and initial. Is I've noticed that when I have gotten them back, at sometimes it has been it especially it happens with maybe some maybe I wonder what is that. Okay, let's see. Got that. Can you mute yourself, Curtis?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay. So I find that there are some initials that don't seem to, you know, come through. And so I always go back and look it over before sending it off. I always go back and look it over because a lot of times we'll have to go back and, you know, put those initial spaces in again and send it back off to my, I think there might be maybe a little bit of a glitch, but I think it's a good idea to always even though you've looked it over prior to sending it to your buyer for signatures, that once you get it back, to take another look at it just to make sure that all the signatures have been adopted into the, you know, into the offer. And then also something else that I was, let me see, I know, oh, what I've noticed and Porterhouse does, they've given us such a great template to work with, is that, and if you use that template, you will have a very impressive, clean looking offer. And you know, agents appreciate that, you know, being able to receive that and it being very obvious what your offer is. It's clean. It has all the elements to it, you know, that is required. And that can be, you know, one of the determining factors also, because if the offer is messy, they may not even be able to present your offer as it was intended. So I think that's a great thing as well.
Yeah, you know, with what I've actually done, because I was having those issues with Brokermite as well, like where sometimes it wouldn't save or that initial wouldn't still be there. And I think that what is happening is that there's so many different platforms out here that we use. And I know I've gotten kind of used to in Google Docs, it auto saves. So like there's so many documents that, you know, you'll see it pop up on the top, like just saved, you know, and I'm like, I just moved the mouse, just saved, which is a good thing. But, and I know that was happening with me, and I caught myself like leaving the document open and then going back to the document thinking that it's saved. So what I've done with Brokermite now is like, anytime I know, I don't care what I'm going to do. If I'm just going to go eat lunch, or if that window's open within that particular file I'm working on, I'm going to save it and I'm going to close out of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that will alleviate those mystery initials, because I know exactly what you're referring to. But I will always look. So whenever that document comes back, I have to look it over. So before I submit anything, I have combed through that. This is the final offer. I got all my initials. I got everything, it's done. And now I'm fully comfortable where I might have saved it 3 more times just to be on the safe side. Everything's there now. So now let me submit the offer, but I think that's what I know. I was really getting frustrated it didn't dawn on me that, I wasn't really saving it. I thought that it auto saved, and I had a few that, oh man, like the offer was done. I didn't save it. I'm sure we've all had one of those, like you didn't save the offer. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like, but then you kind of really know you can really plow through it because, you got everything, or, it's a little faster then. But, I've had a few of those that, that's horrible.
Thank you. Yes. Mhm. And I believe Ms. Porter had her hand raised.
So what Curtis said is so pertinent on the agent side, just making sure that everything is safe. I want to just give us a piece of information on the buyer side too. So when buyers are receiving those documents, in order to auto sign them, you want to make sure that they hit the red button that says next, opposed to just scrolling down their screen looking for the buttons to sign. Because if they hit the red button that says next, it's going to take them from signature to signature, each and every individual initial and signature within that document, ensuring that they don't miss any. What happens quite often is people just get in there and they scroll down the screen and they scroll and scroll, and they're like, they hit this one, they hit that one, and you go back and they're like 20 missing. So just make sure that we inform the buyers, hey, it will walk you through the document, initial by initial, and the system itself knows where those initials and signatures are needed. So hit that button so that you don't miss any. So that's another piece to that puzzle.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any additional questions? I know it seems to me that for that, it's only like maybe 4, maybe 2 or 3, 4 at the most initials, and it's only been initials, and it's on the same document every time. And but I've never instructed the buyer to just hit the next button. You don't have to try and figure out where the next signature or initial is required. If you hit the next button, it's going to go through everything that is required, your attention. So that's good information. Thank you very much. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Anything that anyone else wants to share? Okay.
I will say that I've had listing agents actually compliment the offers that I've submitted. Not all of them, but the way that we do them at Porterhouse, it does stand out. It does. They do look attractive. They read easily. And I've, on the listing side, which I'm sure, folks here too, like have received some offers, and it's just like, wow, like they're just really sloppy. And that's not even saying it's missing documents or, but just the way it comes across, it just reads jumbly, it just doesn't read as clean. And that's why I really emphasize the summary at the beginning. I think that is just so powerful. Because that on the listing side is what if I have a listing, that's what I want. Where's the money? What we got here? You know, what's the deal? Now I got to go through it to make sure it's, you know, the offer is the offer, but to just have that information right away in your face, here you go. It just stands out. It's just done extremely well.
Darlene said, that is true. She said, we get compliments all the time about how clean our offers come through. Yes, that is true. And also too, we need to make sure, especially if we're, you know, just starting out writing offers, don't forget to get the disclosures also. Yeah. Okay.
And that's why I like to have all my windows open. I like to have everything, because there's so much stuff that you're going to need that to do all of that up front, you know, to sit, okay, because you're going to have to download the disclosures. So I'm going to need Bright MLS open. HomeSnap might have them. Sometimes they're in HomeSnap, sometimes they're not, but Bright will have them. You know, so having all of those windows open for me, I can now more just kind of sit back and now go through the offer and write. It's just a matter of like just scrolling to the top. Let me click on this button. And now if I'm using one laptop, that demo offer will mirror where I'm at. So as I'm going through the offer, I'm filling it out. Now I'm at another addendum. I'll go to the demo, make sure I'm pulling that down to where, you know, I'm at in the real offer, but it's all right there. You know, so it really, for me, I'm a multi-window kind of guy, but like when you're sitting there really working on, you know, an offer, it just makes it a lot, takes a lot of stress off. And I know that was one of the reasons how I was able to kind of get faster, is because, okay, well, this is the stuff I'm going to need. Let me make sure I have it all pulled up. And I literally will just sit back, pull it up. Let me open this, pull this one up, get this one up. Where's the demo? Okay, this is up. Let me fill out the summary. Now let me drop in the picture. Or the letter, the EMD. This is all in here. And then I'll just start going through, because Brokermite's going to organically fill a lot of things in. So, you know, that kind of take, but now do I need to unselect or unfill, you know, because this field doesn't, you know, doesn't apply to this particular deal, but I'll just go through as much as I can, like literally the whole thing. And then what'll start happening is as you fill in, you'll go through it again faster, and you'll go through it again a little faster, because this other stuff is done. And now you're looking for these like 3 key components that you really weren't sure of, that you really had to kind of snoop around and figure out, you know, what addendum, what county. You know, now I might be looking at, you know, was it the Mars or the Maryland for like a particular addendum, you know, but 90% of the offer now is done. I just got to insert this specialty addendum that isn't in the already like pre-formatted format, I guess, that we have. So yeah, I love the windows. And then another screen is even better. I would just have that as like the demo offer, something that I can just look at, and then I'm going to be on my regular kind of laptop that I'm going to write the offer.
Right. Okay, well, Curtis, thank you again. We appreciate you. You did an excellent job, as we knew you would. So this was a lot of detail, which was great, which was what we needed. So we appreciate you sharing with us. If there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop the recording.